Hi, everyone. Let's talk about bodily tensions and what they might imply and where they might be coming from. Now, the idea here is that, of course, we know from psychology a lot of from a long time now, we know that we use almost unconsciously sometimes bodily tensions to block and to control emotion. I always remember that once in my past, I was sort of forced myself to understand how to stop laughter from happening because in my first times as a psychotherapist, there was a certain section where I had this tendency to laugh aloud, and that would be very anti-therapeutic. It would imply it would seem that I would be laughing at a patient. So later on, I could control it anyway, but later on I made some research and understood that if I block my abdomen muscles, I can stop laughter easily. And that made me research further and understand that from a long time now that people like Wilhelm Reich talked about a neuromuscular armor of our body that we might use, and some of us do, to block many or about all manifestations of emotion and bodily spontaneous movements. So we know that during infancy, lots of us, we learn soon that adults would not like us to laugh aloud, to cry, to shout, to jump around, to be manifesting all our emotions spontaneously and in a vigorous way through our bodies. So we were punished in several ways. We were criticized. We were sometimes even the target of some physical aggression. So we learned that it would be better for us to stay put and not to manifest emotion. How? Stopping our body movement, body tension. Eventually, we learn that specific patterns of body tension will stop specific emotions from manifesting because some emotions will be more tolerated than others. Now, this is one portion of a complex picture because indeed, we know that we have the striate muscles, we have the voluntary muscles that are one major portion of the whole story, the ones we might control voluntarily at some conscious level, the ones that it is easier to feel when we are trying to relax, and it is easier to notice that they might be too tense. But then we have more subtle levels of this issue. We have smooth muscles connected with our internal organs and with our circulation, our blood circulation and our vases. And so tensions in there are not so conscious, but they happen. And they might also be quite connected with blocked and unmanifested emotions. Therefore, such inner tensions that are kept might damage internal organs. They might, in a way, damage our physical health. There is an author, Mishadak, that recently has been showing that in major depression disorders, we do find general patterns of posture, bodily posture, that are directly connected with the depressive state. And when we work with patients to change the body posture and the general pattern of body movement, even at a subtle level, implying the fascia, then we get an improvement in depression, namely in the thought patterns of depressed people. When we are depressed and deeply depressed, we have this tendency to have negative thoughts that become ruminations. They become repetitive and obsessive. In a way, we are thinking negatively a lot about ourselves and our lives in a repetitive mode. The thing is that this has a tendency to change, according to those authors, when we change the bodily patterns of posture and movement, which is good news. Now, we also know, namely from a famous author, Candace Pert, that our DNA directly produces or gives rise to the production in our body of neuropeptides, so chemicals, like 50 to 60 of them, that circulate all over our bodies, delivering messages that are locally received all over the body, coming namely from our brain. But then, everywhere in our body and in the brain, we have receptors for neuropeptides, and we have even cells that some cells connected to the immune system. They have receptors for all neuropeptides. And to Candace Pert, the character of the messages and the influence of the neuropeptides in different areas of the body, namely the information that will make local cells, local receptors react to neuropeptides, all of this depends on emotion. So emotion seems to be a main influencer of the whole chemistry of our body, and through that chemistry of the state of our internal organs, our general health status, and of course, patterns of tension or relaxation. But behind emotion, we have also mind and consciousness. So most probably, consciousness states patterns of the way we are with our mind and our mind bodies are the key to this whole orchestra of chemicals and messages and information permeating our body and influencing what is happening, both at the very subtle level of our organs or at the general voluntary muscles. So, of course, positive emotions help. And still, there is one thing to think about. We have, according to spiritual traditions, we have chakras, main centers of energy, that transmit and make a transduction of energy from subtle levels to our very concrete physical body. Those chakras would be mostly seven. The most important ones would be seven of them, connected with main nervous plexuses, connected with our brain, and connected with main endocrine glands. So when there are some changes in our state of consciousness and our emotional state, this also has a direct reflection on the chakras, and then the chakras will have a reflection to the whole body orchestra, I would say. So this is a complex thing, but most probably we might still think that as long as we keep a state of consciousness that is mostly flexible, expansive, permeated by love, probably it will permeate our bodies and it will change our chemistry and our patterns of tension towards states of flow. This is the main idea for now. As usual, if you like, share, comment, subscribe to the channel. I'll be around.